So if you look back over the last few years, couple years, you can kind of see the macro Bitcoin movement since 2018 or so. And all this is, I mean, the central idea of why market share and price goes up, the central idea is adoption. Bottom line, end of story, adoption, adoption, adoption. That's what market share, circulating supply, price, those metrics, economic metrics, whatever you want to call them, reflect an adoption by popular culture, institutional, and retail money. Okay, so we all understand that, right? So then you start moving into the last couple of years. You have a lot of economic liquidity that's injected around March of 2020, May. I can't remember when the multi-trillion-dollar, actually multiple government, U.S. government bailout funds were approved, but you can basically track that liquidity into the crypto and specifically the Bitcoin markets and follow the line and the trend and basically see that you are topping out last November with all-time highs. Now, here's something interesting. If you're just wanting to nerd out with me here for a second, a couple of theories, the opposing theories that are happening. All right. So one theory on the market is that the false top theory, which means this November top of 2021 right here was virtually a fluke. That's paraphrase. Okay. I'm not going to get extremely technical here, but the actual cycle top was here around April instead of last November, and that we're on a greater trajectory. But what that means is we will not see any more all-time highs this year and potentially even next year. But the false top theorists basically think it's going to be way over here in 2024 when we see all-time highs again. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't see corrections or pumps or rallies again. I'm just talking about all-time highs, which are cyclical based on the Bitcoin halving cycle every 4 years. The next halving is 2024. Usually those stimulate humongous price mania phases. And that's when you'll see quote unquote all-time highs. That's one camp. Okay. And again, that doesn't mean you can't make money between now and then. It just means if you're looking for the parabolic, newsworthy, historic, like tell your grandkids about the moment when Bitcoin did X, Y, or Z, that false top crowd, it kind of subscribes to new all-time highs happening in 24 months rather than this year. Okay. So that's one camp. Then you've got the other camp saying, no, we're actually just in a long, like we're not in a bear market right now. Okay. So false top theorists say we're in a bear market. You can call it a crypto winter, whatever. But we're in a bear market and we've been there since last November. Actually since last April, and November was a fluke. I don't know how they technically back that up. I can't on a technical level describe it to you, but that's just their thing. The other side of the fence, and there's always another side of the fence, and it's impossible to know what's what and who's right until the water is under the bridge. And so that's why we don't gamble. We just make the best possible educated guesses we can as investors and have time horizons and liquidity to keep ourselves solvent and sustained. So that being said, the other side is no, we're in an elongated bull market correction. What does that mean? Well, what they're saying is that basically, if I can get the view right, these are old doodles. Let me take these out just because they might be confusing, although decently relevant to what I'm trying to tell you. What they're saying is this was not a false top, and these were simply basically molehills to a larger trajectory upward. Whoops. And what guys like Tim Draper are saying that there's going to be, you know, we've been in this right here. We've been in this trading pattern right here for about 10 days now. It's gross. And then you can see these other trading patterns, these times. And each of these trading patterns, these basically flat plateau moments in time that provide not a lot of volatility, which means there's not a lot of profit or risk-taking opportunities. They always end, at least recently, with a breakout of some kind, right? So either a breakout upward, like here, or a breakout downward, like here. But then they go back into these weird trading patterns, and it's just kind of annoying. But this is what they're saying is happening. They're saying, yeah, these are like trimmers before the good earthquake, the real bull market happens. And again, trading patterns and then a dump right here. Okay. So what they're saying now is we're on the verge of either a break upward towards another short-term rally or a severe break downward. Now, I'm actually in the short-term camp here. Okay. I think we're probably going to be going towards a short-term 24K break. I really actually want us to have another dump. I think what Bitcoin currently is showing is a lot of resilience around the $29,000 to $30,000 price point. That support level. These charts, it's all about support and resistance, right? Support line being the price that just Bitcoin will not refuse to go below. Resistance being the glass ceiling that it just can't seem to get beyond, right? In the short term, it's been around 40,000. And I tell you guys to think through, like, if you haven't watched the bear market training in session 4, the module, it's an updated training. If you haven't watched that, I highly encourage you to watch that, because it's just how to use the flywheel during a bear market. I think we're in, it's almost terminology or semantically impossible right now to determine where we are. It's kind of like recessions. You can't really say that you're in one until you actually have the data signifying that you're in one. Right now, it's really impossible. I don't know if we're in a long-term corrective bull market or if we're in a bear market. It feels terrible regardless, because you don't have these opportunity patterns to take advantage of if you're into short-term swing trades or whatever, which we are technically not here at Crypto Y'all. We're in these at max 90 to 120 day patterns of hold for our cash flow, and then our appreciation part of the flywheel, that second part, is really more of a longer term hold. That doesn't mean you can't take profits. It just means you need to be on the lookout for these opportunities. And there haven't been a lot of those opportunities really in the last 6 months. There's been a few breakouts here and there, but if your cost basis is low, and if you're newer to the Crypto Y'all ecosystem, you've been in this great, like, basically the last 6 months, the last 4 or 5 months have been great cost basis times, especially for Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's Bitcoin season right now, bottom line. Like, if you're just scratching your head going, man, where did I put my money? I'm confused. I'm upside down in just the way to evaluate things. Just dollar cost average into Bitcoin until you can get your head clear. And you don't want to risk, you don't feel risky, yada, yada. It's just great. Bitcoin is, people will be fighting and clawing to get these prices on Bitcoin ever again. We dipped down and touched 25K back here, beginning almost middle of May. We touched 25K. I mean, literally like overnight, and bounced back up to 29, 30K really fast. I think a good healthy drop to 24K will be a signal of bottom and support that then I think a lot of also just whales and institutional money is waiting on. If that happens, the chances of an upward trajectory that's violent and almost parabolic will be way more possible than where we are right now. If we keep trading this 29, 30K, 31K, I think what's going to happen is we're just going to flirt with 37, 40K over the next, I don't know, 4 to 8 weeks. And we'll kind of tread water into the midterms, and we might see 50K, something like that. But if we can get a hard drop, usually the violent or hard drops are met by the market with violent upswings and injection of liquidity. You know, the Fed doesn't seem to be backing off their hawkish game, where they're not only raising interest rates, but they're tapering the balance sheet. So it's kind of like they're fighting with a two-edged sword right now against inflation, and that's really preventing that false accretive or false appreciation in all of the equity markets, including crypto. And so we gotta convince the couple of things. The M2 money supply, that's literally just like all the cash and savings across the planet. I think it's something like a $700 trillion supply of money. We got to convince that a significant portion, even 1%, to come in on top of, and what that might look like is, okay, well, what if the Grayscale ETF spot Bitcoin ETF is approved? Well, that would be huge. That would allow a ton of M2 money and investment dollars and institutional money to come in. That would be an SEC approval. And that would open the gates. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's literally the deadline for the SEC to approve it is next month. And if you look back at 2020 or 2021, the summer was terrible. It was just like kind of similar to this. Like it was just doldrums and not a lot of excitement. But then September rolled around and it was fireworks. It's going to be interesting. If you look back at the last two market bottoms, they both happened in proximity to midterm elections. So we're kind of in this weird place right now where I would say don't make any massive bets until you see another breakout. A breakout is imminent, in my opinion, the next 10 days. I think we're going to go up or we're going to go down. I'm waiting on a downward motion. And one altcoin that I'm looking at that I own currently, but I'm going to reposition into potentially with some significant capital, is Gala Games. If you're familiar with Gala, it's traded on Coinbase. It's extremely accessible. It's an altcoin. It's a game. It's a metaverse gaming crypto. If you look at the price history over the last year, it's touched at all-time highs with Bitcoin. It tracks with Bitcoin. It's got a fairly large market cap compared to its competitors. It's kind of the incumbent metaverse gaming coin. It's on severe discount currently at 7 cents. If Bitcoin drops down to 24K, you can see this south of 5 cents. I think it's an awesome short-term altcoin play. especially because they had this big announcement come out. They're partnering with Epic Games. If you're not familiar with Epic Games, they're the people who created Fortnite. Gala is throwing out a game called Grit. It's a battle royale, kind of like a Fortnite, but it's crypto, blockchain, metaverse centric. It's an NFT game where there's actual property that you can own in the game. It's an interesting development, pretty significant if you are looking at alpha and just like macro stuff coming together. Gala will have a game in Epic Games store, which is the same store where you buy Fortnite and other popular games. This is, again, going back to my comments earlier, this is adoption. Adoption is what will drive ultimately market share and price appreciation from the top down. But we're watching Bitcoin. We're keeping an eye on that. And if you're looking to like be really just like buy blood, buy fear, buy depression, you're trying to be really cunning with your dollars, wait for this movement right here. I think you're waiting on a Bitcoin movement to the mid to low 20s, and then you buy something like a Gala Games for an awesome 6 to 12 month play, possibly even shorter than that, to take profits. Maybe even by the end of the year, if guys like Tim Draper get their way, he's calling for Bitcoin price of 250K. I don't see that happening. I don't know how that's possible on an economic level. And sometimes guys just know how to get into the news cycle. So maybe that was just more about Tim Draper than it was about Bitcoin. But even if he's half right, even if it went to 125K, it would still mean incredible parabolic gains for altcoins. It would be an altcoin season like we've never had, and there will be 10x to 100x gains all over the place, just laying around. So if you're getting into crypto right now, if you're putting dry gunpowder into the market, be patient, exercise that patience, because it's going to pay off big when Bitcoin decides to break out. And a breakout of some kind is imminent between now, I believe, and the end of the year. It's just a matter of how much.